2 matches. Now, don't get me wrong, the opening tag team match was fantastic. Now, if you're probably wondering why Joey Mercury's face is wearing that mask, that's from a ladder. Now, they did talk about it on the show, but that's from a ladder match, which is actually a really, really good ladder match, Christopher, and anyone listening who hasn't seen it. Go back and watch Armageddon 2006. That is a phenomenal ladder match. Eminem reunited for one night. The Hardys reunited for one night. And I bet Joey Mercury wishes he didn't, because he took a ladder straight to the nose and it just oozes blood.
The video package actually showed from numerous angles. I was like, oh, and they freeze frame it on there, and his eye was already swelling up, and he's just bleeding everywhere. I'm like, dude, he looks busted up. Wow.
Yeah. But when you're watching, like, the video package is one thing, but the match, he's out there the whole time, and the place is just covered in blood. And it's a great match, but you know, when you go back and watch it in context, you're like, really? That's what messed you up for, like, a tag team that you're not even really in anymore. You know, that's what was crazy about this. So that's the story behind this match. It was a decent match. Eminem are always really good against the Hardys. Eminem were pretty good as a team in general, but that was a great opener. The next 2 matches were horrifically bad. Obviously, the Hardys got the win. Bobby Lashley against Test for the ECW World Championship. A big deal, because the first time the ECW title was defended at a Royal Rumble. But my God, 7 minutes I can never get back.
Not just that, but Test looked like he was juicing. Like, he looked ripped.
so here's the sad thing about Test. Test would go to TNA later on in this year. I would actually be there in the crowd for it at the Impact Zone, and he'd show for one match, and then disappear and then die a couple of years later.
Oh my!
So Test did not have a good run. He probably was. We don't know, but he died in very sad circumstances. Very young as well. So he died. Yeah, he died at 33. So he was very, very young, and his career. This would be the very, very tail end of his WWE run. He'd end up in TNA, and then in 2009, that would be it. You know.
And those that remember, he was supposed to marry Steph. This is Attitude Era WWE, WWF at the time. And that's when Triple H unveiled that, oh, by the way, you can't marry Stephanie because I already did, Dad. And just that whole weddings on WWE never go as planned. They never do. No. So you think they would stop doing them?
Well, yeah, you think, like anytime there's a wedding,
they never go well. They never go well.
Particularly if there's a table in the ring, it's like someone's gone through that table or whatever, you know. But yeah, no, that was even a bigger deal than the Miss Elizabeth Macho Man wedding, because like
that actually went through.
That went through, exactly, yeah, because this was just like, this changed the whole thing, and that's how Triple H and Stephanie would actually meet, and then they get married 2 years later, and then blah 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 blah. So, you know, it's really the most impactful storyline WWE have ever really had when you think about it. And poor Test, he just got hung out to dry, and it's sad here, because like, they were building up Bobby Lashley, who won the title at December to Dismember, and it wasn't a good run. Test wasn't a good challenger, and this match was 7 minutes of pain, and not in a cool way where they were doing cool moves or weapons. It was just awful, and ended in a count out. So awful match, really, really bad.
It was just disgusting.
But the next match wasn't much better, and I liked Mr. Kennedy. He was in there with Batista for the world title. 10 minutes of the same just boring spot after rest hold, boring spot. 2 of them look lost.
Yeah, this match was pretty boring.
Batista would get the win. Mercifully, it'd be over.
Yeah.
But then we'd get on to a match, which, dude, I actually forgot about this match. And look, I'm not a John Cena fan. I booed him for most of his career. You know, anyone who's listened to anything I've done in WrestleView or anywhere else I've worked, they will know that if I say anything else, I'd be a massive liar and hypocrite. No, I booed John Cena. And with this match, I hated at the time, because I was like, oh my God, John Cena wins. Right? But 20 years removed, going back and watching it, him and Umaga put on some match.
I had a friend of mine recently, he had asked me, this is right after the Cena retirement, he's like, who do you think is or was Cena's like most feared opponent he ever faced? I'm like, it's got to, and even before I watched this, I'm like, it's got to be Umaga, because they had such a history. Like, Umaga just wanted to destroy John Cena, and after
Yeah.
watching this match, that solidifies that.
But
Like,
I have a question. Did you remember that he had to choke him? He had to do an STFU twice with the ropes.
I
I remember it being once, but it actually was twice. Did you remember that?
again, I'd never. This is the first time I'd watched this pay per view because this is when I was
That's
taking
true.
that break. So I'm watching
That's
this
true.
going,
Yeah.
okay, he got him once, and then he stopped and he went. I mean, he went back for seconds. Okay, and this is probably the time they should have done a Cena heel turn. Was right. He kind of teetered that line in this match, and that would have been the perfect time to introduce a heel turn for Cena. Thus,
But
we
see,
did not get that.
he had just been the heel. You know, he was the heel in SmackDown. This was this wasn't Super Cena yet. Super Cena would be pretty much from September on, when he just beat Edge all the time. Um, so
I
we're getting
wouldn't
up to
really
that.
consider. Wouldn't consider the Doctor of Thugonomics a heel. It was more of an anti-hero.
That's
He
true.
taught smack to everybody. He didn't care who they were. There was no favorites. You were a good guy or a bad guy. I'm going to cut a rhyme on you, and you're going to get, you're going to get done.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. But this match, if you haven't seen it, folks, definitely
Have to
worth it.
watch.
Cena is bloody. They beat the hell out of each other. There are
Really
some
did.
actually really, really good spots. And then the end of the match where he's choking him with the ring rope, it's like, damn, that's really good.
Yep.
So a really good match. And look, the Rumble. This Rumble's weird, man. This is a weird Rumble. And when I went back and I didn't watch the card before because I kind of wanted to go in a little bit, you know. And then I was like, oh, Taker won this. Yeah, I remember. And it's just a weird Rumble because you have those ECW extremists come in and Tommy Dreamer's throwing like weapons in and they're hitting each other with Singapore cane. And you're just like, oh, this is a messy Rumble. Kevin Thorne's in it. Now, Kevin Thorne was my first interview ever. So his story would be he'd be a vampire and then he left and then he was Mordecai. Mordecai was supposed to feud with The Undertaker, but that didn't work out and then he disappeared off into the Indies. Nice guy when I was talking to him, but it just didn't work out. And then like you had like Chris Masters, Ray Kelly. You know, this is the most 2000 Rumble ever. But it was great to see Sabu. He was only in there for like
Minute.
5 minutes. That sucked. But
And it was
yeah,
Punk's first Rumble too.
it was Punk's first run. But yeah, he just debuted in ECW a little bit before that. So, but yeah, I love the story that they're telling with Edge and Randy Orton that they were teammates, but there are no teammates in the Rumble. That was
Great
cool.
RKO. Yeah.
Yeah, great RKO, and then obviously setting up that Shawn Michaels couldn't beat the Undertaker, and that would plant the seeds for the epic matches that they'd have in subsequent Rumbles. And Taker would obviously go on and win at that year's WrestleMania as well. So look, a weird Rumble, definitely one that I'd say if you haven't seen it in a while, go back and watch it. The show itself, you can skip the middle part of it almost entirely.
Yeah.
Don't miss Cena and Umaga, and if you haven't seen the opening match, it's worth your time. But there's better pairings with that as well. Anything to finish on that, man? We have 5 minutes left.
On this Rumble, not really. Just again, Taker and Shawn Michaels, pretty much the last remnants, besides Triple H at the time of the Attitude Era that we kind of saw go head to head one again. But of course, we saw them in 2 WrestleManias down the road. But this definitely planted the seeds for that down the road as well.
Absolutely.